Hi everyone, today I am testing different fabric materials to see if they will cut and engrave successfully. First, I have tested engraving on jeans. I used 20% power and 80 millimeter per second speed. This engraving was a success. There was very minimal burn residue on the material. The second engraving and cutting I did was on thick textured linen. So the cutting result was so far the best. The engraving was also good, but it's not as vibrant as I would like it to be. But with higher power or speed settings, the material just burns. So what has worked the best for the cutting was 30% power and 94 millimeter per second speed. For the engraving, what worked the best was 10% power and 80 millimeter per second speed. This is a very thin linen fabric that has a satin finish to the top. So the engraving and the cutting went very well. I am very impressed with both. There's minimal burn damage, and the engraving as well as the cutting is nice, clean and crisp. The settings I used for engraving on this linen fabric was 10% power and 200 millimeter per second speed. For the cutting, I used 10% power and 50 millimeter per second speed. The last fabric that I have tested was a very thin cotton. The cutting was very successful, but I had to do a few tries with the engraving. The material is very thin, so the engraving was either gone straight through or it was left with a very small layer of material. So this was not a very successful engraving, but the cutting was very successful. So if you wanted to do a pattern or something on the material or a stencil, then that would have been very successful. For the second cutting and engraving, I have used engraving power 5% and the speed 400 millimeter per second. It's a very faint engraving, so you cannot see it as clearly, so that's not the best result. But for cutting, I use 10% power and 50 millimeter per second speed. Thank you so much for watching. Laser cutting and engraving gives you endless possibilities, even with fabrics.